everyone. Welcome. Thank you for joining. Write your name in the chat if you want me to shout you out. Shout out to Katie. Shout out to Lakeisha. Shout out to Olivia. Shout out to Caroline. Write your name in the chat if you want me to shout you out. Shout out to Leo. Shout out to Legend. Shout out to Girly Pops. Shout out to Natalia. Shout out to Annie. Shout out to Colt. Shout out to Yuri. Shout out to Sam. Shout out to Jason. Shout out to, thank you, Girly Pop. Shout out to Jameson. Welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining. Write your name in the chat if you want me to shout you out. Shout out to Diego. Shout out to Elijah. Shout out to Harper. Shout out to Asiya, or Asaya, sorry if I mispronounced your name. Shout out to Joshua. Shout out to Emmy. Shout out to Stella. Shout out to Kenya, or Kanaya, sorry if I mispronounced your name. Shout out to Darielis. Shout out to Beckham. Shout out to Mickey. Shout out to Addison. Shout out to Dakota. Shout out to Blaze. Shout out to Delaney. Shout out to Elena. Shout out to Jace. Shout out to Fiona. Shout out to Aubrey. Leave a like if you're enjoying the live stream. Thank you for being here. Shout out to Katrina. Shout out to Shelly. Shout out to Izelia. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Shout out to Ruby. Shout out to Anthony. Shout out to Cash. Shout out to Nazaya. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Shout out to Gabby. Shout out to Ashley. Shout out to Stella. Shout out to Levi. Shout out to Ella. Shout out to Aisha. Leave a like if you're enjoying the live stream. Shout out to Kimberly. Thank you so much. Thank you for your support. I truly appreciate it. Shout out to Kimberly Bays Chavez. Thank you. Shout out to V. Shout out to Mackenzie. Shout out to Maddie. Shout out to Nora. Shout out to Isabella. Shout out to Adrian. Shout out to Alina. Shout out to Medina. Shout out to Emma. Shout out to Angel. Shout out to Atziri. Shout out to Leah. Shout out to Genesis. Shout out to Noelle. Shout out to Lacey. Shout out to Raul. Shout out to Kaden. Shout out to Owen. Shout out to Araceli. Shout out to Alex. Shout out to Tiffany. Shout out to Callie. Leave a like if you're enjoying the live stream. Thank you so much for being here. I truly appreciate it. Shout out to Rosalie. Shout out to Reagan. Shout out to Jalen. Shout out to Arisha. Shout out to Ruby. Shout out to Siri. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Shout out to Max. Shout out to Kimber. Shout out to Cyrus. Shout out to Ian, Galvin. Shout out to Avery. Shout out to Nola. Shout out to Adeline. Shout out to Jennifer. Shout out to Lucy. Shout out to Shiny. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Shout out to Ava. Shout out to Araya. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Shout out to Layla. Shout out to Anna. Shout out to Natalie. Shout out to May. Shout out to these people. On to the next page. Please like and subscribe if you're enjoying the live stream. Thank you so much for being here. I live stream every day around the same time as this. I also post other content. I hope you can check it out and support my channel. I would truly appreciate it. I do different tutorials like this, especially with Valentine's Day coming up. I hope you can check it out. I also do birthday ones too and other holiday cards. So I hope you can check out my channel. I would truly appreciate it. And subscribe. Shout out to Frankie. Shout out to Rosie. Shout out to Sumit. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Shout out to Everly. Shout out to Uwu. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Shout out to Zoe. Shout out to Damia or Damaya. Shout out to Kai. Shout out to Shelby. Shout out to Abigail. Shout out to Zanaya. Shout out to Pilar. Shout out to Liana. Shout out to Milani. Shout out to Graylin. Shout out to Lamari. Shout out to Carla. Shout out to Jose. Shout out to Hunter. Shout out to Delilah. Shout out to Kensley. Shout out to Emery. Shout out to Johnny. Leave a like if you're enjoying the live stream. Thank you so much for being here. I truly appreciate it. Shout out to Lauren. Shout out to Delilah. Thank you so much. I truly appreciate it. Shout out to Delilah. Thank you for your support. Shout out to Turbo. Shout out to Vivian. Shout out to Aurora. Shout out to Daniel. Shout out to Apurva. Sorry if I mispronounce your name. Shout out to Akeem. Shout out to Ava. Shout out to Max. Shout out to Genesis. Shout out to Abraham. Shout out to Naya. Shout out to Shadow. Shout out to Aubrey. Shout out to Gabriella. Shout out to Catherine. Shout out to Emmy. Shout out to Olivia. Shout out to Victoria. Shout out to Ariana. Shout out to Stella. Shout out to Remy. Please like and subscribe if you're enjoying the live stream. Shout out to Diksha Sumit. Sorry if I mispronounce your name. Shout out to Megan. Shout out to Elena. Shout out to River. Shout out to Mimi. Shout out to Ava. Shout out to Ibrahim. Shout out to Bella. Thank you for subscribing. Shout out to Amaret. Thank you. Shout out to Christina. Shout out to Declan. Shout out to Kinsley. Shout out to Naomi. Shout out to Camden. Shout out to Wyatt. Shout out to Julia. Shout out to Savannah. Shout out to Elizabeth. Shout out to Easton. Shout out to Natalie. Shout out to Kyra. Shout out to Kaylee. Shout out to Alana. Leave a like if you're enjoying the live stream. Thank you so much for being here. I truly appreciate it. Shout out to Gio. Shout out to Jordan. Shout out to Van. Shout out to Sailor. Shout out to Fauna. Shout out to Josie. Shout out to Austin Cruz, thank you so much. I truly appreciate it. Shout out to Austin. Thank you for your support. Shout out to Caitlin. Happy birthday. Shout out to Brooklyn. Shout out to Capri. Shout out to Asma. Shout out to Fabricio. Shout out to Sarah. Shout out to KNI fan. Riley, thank you so much. I truly appreciate it. Shout out to Riley, sorry. Shout out to Riley. Thank you for your support. Shout out to Juliet. Shout out to Zoe. Shout out to Samantha. I'm so sorry if I haven't gotten to you. The chat is moving a little fast. Thank you for your patience. Shout out to Leo. Shout out to Armand. Shout out to Destiny. Shout out to Itzak. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Shout out to these people. On to the next page. Please like and subscribe if you're enjoying the live stream. Thank you so much for being here. I truly appreciate it. I live stream every day around the same time as this. Shout out to Jameson. Thank you so much. I truly appreciate it. Thank you for your support. Shout out to Jameson. Shout out to Anastasia. Thank you for subscribing. Shout out to Raiden. Shout out to Kingston. Shout out to Taylor. Shout out to Amelia. Shout out to Jamilet. Shout out to Julia. Shout out to Rosalind. Or Rosalind. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Shout out to Soleil. Shout out to Nicole. Shout out to Cynthia. Shout out to Alyssa. Shout out to Violet. Shout out to Sarah. Shout out to Bella. Shout out to Darden. Shout out to Cat's Eye. Shout out to Amison. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Shout out to Gavin. Shout out to Emmy, or M. Shout out to Kalani. Shout out to Trinity. Leave a like if you're enjoying the live stream. Thank you so much for being here. I truly appreciate it. Shout out to Robin. Shout out to Adriana. Shout out to Grayson. Shout out to Brisa. Shout out to Aiden. Shout out to Jameer. Shout out to Jenny. Shout out to Stella. Shout out to Sailor. Shout out to Kendra. Shout out to Ava. Shout out to Manny. Shout out to Dennis. Shout out to James. Shout out to Jadalis. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Shout out to Hoppy. Oh, you want in green. I'll wait then. Shout out to Asa. Shout out to Rebecca. Shout out to Lexi. Shout out to Marley. Shout out to Juliana. Shout out to Amir. Shout out to Hai Chan. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Shout out to Avery. Leave a like if you're enjoying the live stream. Thank you so much for being here. I truly appreciate it. Shout out to Zach. Shout out to Gigi. Shout out to Hayden. Shout out to Mark. Shout out to Benny. Shout out to Johnny. Shout out to Oliver. Shout out to Leon. Shout out to Charlie. Shout out to Hoppy. Shout out to Connor. Shout out to Daniela. Shout out to Issy. Shout out to Daniela. Oh, I already put Daniela. Shout out to Finn. Shout out to Gianella. Shout out to Marius. Shout out to Summer. Shout out to Jenny. Shout out to Callie. Shout out to Charlotte. Shout out to Jimena. Shout out to Danny. Shout out to Zara. Please like and subscribe if you're enjoying the live stream. Thank you so much for being here. I truly appreciate it. Shout out to Kensley. Shout out to Claire. Shout out to Alan. Shout out to Yuda. Shout out to Raylan. Shout out to Diksha Sumit. Sorry if I mispronounce your name. Shout out to Skylar. Shout out to Elena. Shout out to Taeyong. Shout out to Sophia. Shout out to Ariana. Shout out to Matt. Shout out to Lucy. Shout out to 11. Shout out to Harper. Shout out to Megan. Shout out to Audrey. Shout out to Pamela. Shout out to Vanessa. Shout out to Kaylin. Shout out to Rowan. Shout out to Lex. Shout out to these people. Leave a like if you're enjoying the live stream. On to the next page. Please like and subscribe if you enjoy the live stream. Thank you so much for being here. I truly appreciate it. Also, thank you for your patience. Write your name in the chat if I haven't shouted you out. Shout out to Elena. Shout out to Lizzie. Shout out to Jaden. Shout out to Katie. Shout out to Aria. Shout out to Evelyn. Shout out to Ayat. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Shout out to Clay. Shout out to Millie. Shout out to Kennedy. Shout out to Flora. Shout out to Lele M or Lily. Thank you so much for your support. I truly appreciate it. Shout out to Janika. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Shout out to Lane. Shout out to Justice. Shout out to Donna. Shout out to Marley. Shout out to Sawyer. Shout out to Bang Chan. Shout out to Alora. Shout out to Dakota. Shout out to Melanie. Shout out to Grace. Shout out to Zoe. Shout out to Ladybug. Thank you so much. I truly appreciate it. Shout out to Ladybug. Thank you for your support. Shout out to Naira. Shout out to Isabella. Shout out to... Sorry, the live is going fast. Shout out to Hafsa. Shout out to Liam. Shout out to Lydia. Shout out to Wyatt. Shout out to Ayusha. Shout out to Cade. Shout out to Ethan. Shout out to Ronaldo. Shout out to Katie. Shout out to Marcus. Shout out to Manon. Shout out to Jungkook. Shout out to Naomi. Shout out to Emery. Shout out to Amelia. Shout out to Piper. Shout out to Theo. Shout out to Chris. Shout out to Mary. Leave a like if you're enjoying the live stream. Thank you so much for being here. I truly appreciate it. I think that's the same color. Shout out to Hugo. Shout out to Gianna. Shout out to Janessa. Shout out to Skylar. Shout out to Destiny. Shout out to Steve. Shout out to Lorena. Shout out to Caleb. Shout out to Leah. Shout out to Anthony. Shout out to Omaya. Shout out to Elizabeth. Shout out to Joella. Shout out to Sadie. Shout out to Yunche. Shout out to Louie. Shout out to Emma. Shout out to Tabitha. Shout out to Kyler. Shout out to Ness. Shout out to Rain. Shout out to Zeus. Shout out to Anthony. Leave a like if you're enjoying the live stream. Thank you so much for being here. Shout out to Ryan. Excuse me. Shout out to Brooke. Shout out to Mino. Shout out to Kirana. Shout out to Yuji. Shout out to Audrey. Shout out to Avery. Shout out to Aubrey. Shout out to Isabel. Shout out to Angelica. Shout out to Olivia. Shout out to Felix. Shout out to Emily. Shout out to Maddie. Shout out to Yoonjin. Shout out to Bella Cadillo. Thank you so much. Thank you for your support. Shout out to Bella. Shout out to Blaze. Shout out to Mila. Shout out to Gabriel. Shout out to Landon. Shout out to Izzy. Shout out to Arena. Shout out to these people. Please like and subscribe if you're enjoying the live stream. Thank you so much for being here. I truly appreciate it. Thank you also for your patience. Thank you for taking the time to write your name. I truly appreciate it. Also, please check out my channel. I hope you can support my channel as well. I do tutorials on little greeting cards like this. I hope you can check it out. I also do, with Valentine's Day coming up, I do Valentine cards. So I hope you can check out my channel. I would truly appreciate it. I do a lot of little cute cards like this, so I hope you can like and subscribe or watch some of the tutorials. It would truly help me out. Thank you so much for being here. Shout out to Jaylee. Shout out to Zainab. Shout out to Gabriel. Shout out to Alani. Shout out to Ezekiel. Whoops, I messed up. Shout out to Josie. Shout out to Cora. Shout out to Winter. Shout out to Luciana. Shout out to Evie. Shout out to Kinley. Shout out to Alyssa. Shout out to Kendall. Shout out to Libby. Shout out to Annie. Shout out to Samantha. Shout out to Andrew. Shout out to Silent. Sorry if I mispronounce your name. Shout out to Zaya. Sorry if I mispronounce your name. Shout out to Ren. Shout out to Davian. Shout out to Sunny. Shout out to Kiyuko. Shout out to Austin Cruz. Thank you so much. I truly appreciate it. Shout out to Austin Cruz. Thank you for your support. Shout out to Ardonis. Shout out to Omerta. Thank you for your support. I truly appreciate it. Shout out to Mike. Shout out to Stephanie. Shout out to Olivia. Thank you for subscribing. Shout out to Abram. Shout out to April. Shout out to Ariella. Shout out to Rose. Shout out to Haya. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Shout out to Grayson. Shout out to Leonette. Shout out to Amira. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Shout out to Layla. Shout out to Nani. Shout out to Carson. Shout out to Nathan. Shout out to Aiden. Shout out to Elizabeth. Shout out to Doug. Shout out to Mustang. Shout out to Kayla. Leave a like if you're enjoying the live stream. Shout out to Sailor. Shout out to Tegan. Shout out to Lino. Shout out to Iris. Shout out to Arista. Shout out to Danny. Shout out to Robert. Shout out to Melissa. Whoopsie, I messed up. Shout out to Haroon. Safi. Shout out to Sammy. Shout out to Xavier. Shout out to Chelsea. Shout out to Laura. Thank you for your patience. Thank you for everyone's patience. I truly appreciate it. Shout out to Dandy. Shout out to William. Shout out to May. Shout out to David. Shout out to Jakila. Shout out to Mia. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Shout out to Gunnar. Shout out to Asen. Shout out to Jasmine. Leave a like if you're enjoying the live stream. Chelsea, I got you. Shout out to Ryan. Shout out to Kazi. Shout out to Grace. Shout out to Aubrey. Shout out to Parker. Shout out to Jiang. Shout out to Cora. Shout out to Braylee. Shout out to Sophia. Shout out to Jonathan. Shout out to Marley. Shout out to Amaya. Shout out to Journey. Shout out to Jason. Shout out to Bella. Shout out to Genesis. Shout out to Grayson. Shout out to Delilah. Shout out to Anyar. Sorry if I mispronounce your name. Shout out to Abby. Shout out to Sally. Shout out to Kristen. Shout out to Hannah. Shout out to these people. On to the next page. Leave a like if you're enjoying the live stream. Leave a like if you're enjoying the live stream. Thank you so much for being here. I truly appreciate it. Shout out to Yuna. Shout out to Marlo. Shout out to Aaliyah. Shout out to Michaela. Shout out to Alexa. Shout out to Esteban. Shout out to Anaya. Shout out to Kenley. Shout out to Izzy. Shout out to Cabrin. Shout out to Colette. Shout out to Raya. Shout out to London. Shout out to Armin. Shout out to, Channing. Shout out to Crystal. Shout out to Katrina. Shout out to Marilyn. Shout out to Kimberly. Shout out to Helen. Shout out to Aviana. Shout out to Caitlin. Shout out to Ben. Leave a like if you're enjoying the live stream. Shout out to Hayden. Shout out to Bonchi. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Shout out to Tala. Shout out to GM Kids. Thank you so much. I truly appreciate it. Shout out to GM Kids. Thank you for your support. Shout out to Mogan. Shout out to Aiden. Shout out to Tyler. Shout out to Zion or Zian. Shout out to Samuel. Shout out to Charlie. Shout out to Dexter. Shout out to Odalis. Shout out to Parker. Shout out to Noel. Shout out to Imani. Shout out to Ria. Shout out to Macy. Thank you for subscribing. Shout out to Marley. Shout out to Alexia. Shout out to Libby. Shout out to Alejandra. Shout out to Elena. Thank you for subscribing. Shout out to Luz Mila. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Shout out to Mia. Thank you for subscribing. Shout out to Chloe. Shout out to Aya. Shout out to Madison. Shout out to Josephina. Shout out to Amelia. Shout out to Steven. Shout out to Briar. Shout out to Presley. Shout out to Luna. Shout out to Camila. Thank you for subscribing. Shout out to Alina. Shout out to Macy. Shout out to Brianna. Shout out to Lillian. Shout out to Aika or Icha. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Shout out to Kaylee. Shout out to Asher. Shout out to Willia. Shout out to Augustina. Shout out to Tony. Shout out to Alex. Shout out to Avery. Leave a like if you're enjoying the live stream. Thank you so much for being here. I truly appreciate it. Shout out to Kiara. Shout out to Mary. Shout out to Quinn. Shout out to Chrissy. Shout out to Nicholas. Shout out to Yuna. Shout out to Laura. Shout out to Ari. Shout out to Ellie. Shout out to Michelle. Shout out to Olivia. Shout out to Alice. Shout out to London. Shout out to Kaisen or Kaisen. Shout out to Chrislyn or Chrisline. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Shout out to Noga. Shout out to Sophia. Shout out to Amir. Shout out to Lace. Shout out to Andrea. Shout out to Valerie. Shout out to Naya. Shout out to Ali. Shout out to these people. Please like and subscribe if you enjoy the live stream. I live stream every day around the same time as this. I will do another live stream in about an hour. So if you want to log in again to join, please subscribe so you know when I'm gonna live. I'm gonna live in 1 hour. Thank you again for being here. Thank you for taking the time to write your name. I truly appreciate it. Thank you so much for being here, and please check out my channel. I do other tutorials like this on my YouTube shorts. I also do Valentine cards. Thank you so much for being here. I will be here in 1 hour. Take care, everyone.